everyone, and welcome back to the Macro Podcast, where we talk about conversations around collaboration, connection through conversation. And today we're going to be talking about the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, USACE, what they call it, right?
That's right.
And we're going to be talking with the Lieutenant Colonel Adrian Biggerstaff, who is the commander of the Honolulu District. And one thing I've been learning about with this branch, this area, is that you're helping out a lot with things that hit home here in Hawaii, such as coastal lines, flooding, land stewardship, and environmental climate, so forth. But before we kind of dive into that, can you just take a little bit of time to introduce yourself and share a little bit about what your background is, as well as what led you to the role you're playing today?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you for having me on today, Daniel. Yeah. It's great to be here talking. And I love talking about the Corps of Engineers anytime, so it's great to be here. I'm an engineer officer in the Army. I've been in the Army for just over 20 years now. Educated as a civil engineer, have spent my entire professional career serving as an engineer in the Army in one capacity or the other. And now I have the good fortune to be here in a command role for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Honolulu District. In my position, we again, as you described, we take on a very large program of work across both military construction and civil works, and looking forward to diving into what that looks like for Hawaii today.
Yeah, I think that's something for me, being someone who's not familiar with those areas. I feel like we kind of hear about the Army, but learning more about the Corps and of engineers is something that I've never even came across before. So someone who's like myself, who's never heard of it before, can you explain it to me a little more? What exactly you do?
We can go way back.
Yeah.
So we just recently celebrated the Army's 250th birthday. And in the celebration, I think many realize the Army is actually older than our nation, just over a year older. And it was as we were forming the Army, preparing this nation to defend itself, there was a quick realization that we need engineering expertise in our nation. First for fortification, but then as our nation grew, we realized to have a strong nation, you have to have a strong defense. To have a strong defense, you have to have a strong economy. To have a good economy, you have to have a good infrastructure. Then to have a good infrastructure, you have to have engineers that can build and maintain that infrastructure. So the need was apparent. We needed engineers for our nation. And in 1802, Thomas Jefferson signed into law two really monumental things. First, the United States Military Academy at West Point. The second was permanently establishing the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The Military Academy its purpose was to build or train and grow engineers to do the great works to build our nation. And then the Corps of Engineers was to house those engineers so they can then manage the works. If you go to West Point today, you go to Mahan Hall, you see this plaque on the outside, and it has this dedication from the American Society of Civil Engineers recognizing West Point as the nation's first engineering school, because before that, we were just relying on our partners from other nations to give us that expertise. And it's those leaders that came out, and they did phenomenal things for our nation to build the economy and the infrastructure that we have and we appreciate today. So as time went on with the Corps of Engineers, Congress and the nation recognized the value that we bring. So they've continued to give us more authority to do more works. Early on, we were again in fortifications, we were in navigation, we moved on to power generation, flood control. We got into ports and harbors, and where we built the Panama Canal, one of the big ways to get navigation across the Americas. And then we also found a role in emergency management, ecosystem restoration, which we can talk more about today. And the list goes on. But again, it's a phenomenal organization, very proud to represent it today. And happy to answer any more questions you have.
Yeah, you mentioned West Point. I also learned that you also were given an opportunity to teach there as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is one opportunity. As we grow as officers, we get many broadening opportunities. One of the broadening opportunities that I got is I got to go back and get advanced education, and then go and teach at West Point, teach the things that I've been practicing for the early part of my career, and motivate the next generation of officers. And definitely had a bias towards getting the engineer officers to be engineers, of course. But so it's one of the many opportunities in the Army that you get as you broaden and grow in your profession, to go back and teach the next generation.
That's good to hear. And we talk about the District of Honolulu as one of your areas that you're commanding right now. Like, how many districts are there within the U.S. right now?
I believe the count now is 43 districts,
wow.
and they're spread across. The original way they were divided up is by the watersheds of the United States, and
Okay.
now that's evolved a little bit, but that was a motivation to arrange it to where we manage ourselves by the water more so than state boundaries.
Right.
But we have different boundaries now based on different missions or different programs that we run. But that was the original thought process, and we're all across the world. In any state, we have presence, and as the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
And as part of being in Hawaii, not only are you looking over in Hawaii, is it across the whole Pacific? Or?
It is. So
it is,
the
right?
Honolulu District, we cover around 12 million square miles.
Wow.
So that includes all the Hawaiian Islands, the 3 territories, and we have partner nations or partner islands as well outside in that vast area. So we cover the whole Pacific, or nearly the whole Pacific. And the Pacific Ocean Division, my higher headquarters, they do in fact cover out through Japan and Korea all the way to Alaska.
Wow.
So a large coverage of the Pacific.
For being born and raised in Hawaii over here, like being connected to the land is so important. And we have such a unique space and a unique culture. How is it different from the other districts that are out there?
Well, I think all the districts have a connection with their communities.
Yeah.
It's just fundamental. Like, we cannot have effective projects if we don't consult with, engage, bring in critical stakeholders that are local to the communities. If we don't have that, the project solutions would not be viable and productive. So not that we're different in terms of what we do so much, but just we're different that we do our best to connect with the culture here in Hawaii. So like you mentioned, the Ainas is the most valuable thing because it's so precious here in the Pacific. You look at all the water and the little dots of land, it's just a critical asset, and you got to take care of it because you can actually see all of it in one look. It's not like in the vast other states where there's just so much land to see and you can spread out. Here it's very limited, so it's precious. So we definitely appreciate that. It is something we cannot get wrong. We have to take care of it.
Yeah.
And we take that into consideration with all of our projects.
Can you kind of share, speaking of projects, can you share some of the projects that you've been working on that kind of has been meaningful to you, that you feel like you see the work being done?
Yeah, I could spend the entire day talking about projects. We have, as a district, since we've started, we've completed thousands of projects. Right now we have over 300 in the works, and we have projects forecasted out into the early 2030s. Yeah. So we have a lot of projects. I could talk a long time. So I'm going to focus on the projects that probably have been seen by most people on the islands.
Yeah.
And if we visually just take a virtual trip to my office and look at like my desk, underneath the glass of my desk, there is, let me ask this question. Have you ever been to Makapu'u?
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's not too far away from your neck of the woods. Yeah. So Makapu'u Lighthouse, that was one of the earlier lighthouses we built.
Oh, wow.
And I should probably tell you how we even came to Hawaii.
Yeah.
You want to jump into that
That'd
story?
be great, yeah.
Okay.
That would help out.
At the turn of the 20th century, there is increased trade, increased naval presence in the Pacific, and there's identified need for both heightened defense, but also just navigational support, navigational aids and assistance to make it a bit more safe for the work. And I think the Senate put it as Hawaii was woefully deficient, I think was the term, on lighthouses.
Yeah.
So the 19th Lighthouse District in San Francisco sent out a team to establish itself in Hawaii and help both fortifications, but also in just navigation. So the Makapu'u Lighthouse was one of those that was 1909 built.
Wow.
It's one that our district is we go there every year. We hike it every April because it's our birthday in April. We're now 120 years old, so still in our prime, 120, but we go there every year, both those who've retired from the district, those families of the district. We hike it. We have a few moments up there just to reflect on what it is we do and why we do it, and it's really to take care of the community here in Hawaii.
Nice.
So that's one of the projects that we really care about. In addition to Makapu'u, another one is the Diamond Head Lighthouse. We built the original Diamond Head Lighthouse. There's also just another one feature that people probably think about when they, at least in the southern part of Oahu.
Yeah.
But interesting with that technology that we brought, the Fresnel lens, which is built or designed by a French physicist. it focuses the light to where it can be seen from up to 10 kilometers away. Where prior to bringing that lens out here, navigation, I was imagining in the water and you're looking to the land, those bonfires and navigational fires they use, you could see it maybe at 1 to 5 kilometers away. Okay. But now we've had the ability to extend that light out to 10 kilometers, which really just gives, I suspect, if you're on the water, a lot more confidence in where you're going, but also safety. So it's just that technology, we just try to incorporate that. And of course, today we have better technology, but we try to bring the cutting edge of technology into our works here just to improve the community's safety, quality of life, and protect it against the hazards. So I keep jumping around here, but we're talking Makapu'u right there. Another project that we've done in the past, if you look up on my wall now in my office, there's a picture of Ho'omaluhia, the botanical garden, and that's really close to your neck of the woods. That project was initiated, and after the 1970s, there was significant flooding in Kaneohe, and lives lost, very significant identification of the hazard, and the result was they needed to we built a major dam there, a dam and a reservoir. You can imagine prior to that dam and reservoir being there, if you were to stand there looking Mauka, you see those beautiful cliffs that you were raised looking at, and all the rain hits those cliffs, runs straight to Mackay, and as you're very familiar, we talked earlier from Mauka to Mackay, and it's that watershed that's formed that just channels all the water to Kaneohe, and this massive dam built in 1981 stops that, retains the water and slows the flow, and protects the entire community. What it also does, it protects this beautiful botanical garden, and now you can go there and find peace and tranquility in that beautiful botanical garden, but at the same time appreciate the peace and tranquility from the community around it because they're protected from these major rain events. So those two of my favorite projects to talk about. Now, those were built a few decades ago, so I don't claim that I was here when we did it. But today we're working on quite a few exciting projects as well. A lot of flood risk management studies, coastal storm protection studies. I've spoken a lot about Oahu. So let's jump to another island. Let's go to the Big Island.
Okay.
If we go to the west side of the Big Island, Ka'u'u Bay, there's a local partner there, Auntie Cindy, who is a phenomenal resource in the community, and her passion is protecting the reef there at Ka'u'u Bay because, it's been so much popularity of the bay. People go there and they just haven't treated the reef appropriately, and she is on a quest with her organization to restore it. And this is just one of the pieces that our organization shines in. We have we call it a continuing authority program, but it's these dollars that we can invest in these projects just like this, and we can partner with local communities, and with their support, we can go in and we can restore the ecosystem. And we also look at studying the coastal effects to protect the land from any surge from the ocean. And at this particular site, just in the kind of theme of talking about connecting with the local people, it's believed that the original walls in this site was built by the Menehune, but with its time and weathering, these rocks have fallen away from this original structure. So in our study, we're looking at ways to reclaim these rocks and use them again. Be happy the Menehune would come out and help us, but restore these rocks again and build the same wall that was there, or it's a slightly improved wall, just protect the coast from any storm surge. But with this effort in this local area, it's a great project to highlight because it really is getting after the community's need, and we're able to do something at the federal level to provide that assistance.
You talk about a lot about the community part, right? The partnering with the local community, and to be honest, there's always been some sort of tension between the military and the local community, but when you partnering together is such an important thing, to have these conversations and this dialogue about the issues that are happening right now. How do you approach those situations when there is a little bit of a tension or skepticism about the role that the Corps is actually doing? How do you approach that?
It's a good question. Well, first of all, we can't avoid it. Like I said, to get a good project, we have to get partnership. We have to communicate. And there may be issues brought up that we don't have the authority. When I say that we deal with authority and appropriations from Congress, the authority gives us permission to do something, but it's a very specific something that we can do.
Yeah.
For example, we may can go fix the coastal area, protect the coast, or put certain material there to preserve the coast, but we can't go outside the bounds of being an authority to do it in, or we can't add additional features to the project because we have a very narrow focus on what we can do. And sometimes that's maybe a rub, is that they want us to do more than we can have the authority to do, which we try to find other authorities to the best of our ability to do that, but sometimes we just can't.
Yeah.
But then the appropriation piece is the funding to do it. So we have to have the authority and the appropriations to be able to do the work. And with that, we do as much as we can to create the most impact for the community. And we really are in the business of saving lives, saving property, and making sure the communities have a safe environment. So beyond those priorities, it's sometimes tough to meet all the requests of the stakeholders that we work with.
Right.
But it's really routine, clear communication. We provide, we share all of our planning studies to the public and give them time to review it. We have in-person meetings. The public can come and engage and talk to us. And we also provide websites with information where they can reach us through that. And if anybody is interested in a project near them right now, but they don't know how to access the right people, please get on the website, the Honolulu District website, and look for the public affairs officer, and they can get you connected to the right people to talk to.
Yeah, I think that's such important, is getting more of this information out there to the public, because a lot of it goes unseen and unnoticed, right? And I think that's one of the powerful things of having these kind of conversations where we can connect those two sides. So there is a little more collaboration, more of a partnership, because again, as you mentioned before, right, like Hawaii is such a beautiful place, but it's a very small piece of land within the middle of the whole entire ocean. And we have to take care of it. We are part of the land, and that's what, from a culture standpoint, like for us, land is everything, the island is everything, So I really appreciate you taking the time to, learning those like simple words like the Mauka Tumakai, the Ahupua. Yeah. And that's something that shows that, you're taking time to work with the community, to understand a little bit more what's going on, How has it been for you as an individual, personally? What has it meant to you for you to go out into the community and to learn more about Hawaii and the culture itself?
It's been really impactful. This is my second time here in Hawaii to be stationed, but the first time I was gone a lot with other operations. So I didn't really, and my job didn't allow me to spend that much time and engage in projects like this, because oftentimes with military work, you are doing training in places where people don't often go. So you don't have that engagement just on weekends and evenings. I didn't have family either at the time, so I wasn't at the baseball field on Saturday and Sunday, watching the kids. So I didn't have that engagement either. But having been here now with kids and family and being in the community, it's a distinctly different experience.
Yeah.
And in the work that we do, it's the values of the people in Hawaii are very consistent with our values in the core, because we prioritize taking care of the land, taking care of the water. We have a regulatory program where we regulate all the federal waters. And if anything's being built, placed into, or removed out of these waters, we have to permit that, because we know that this is a critical part of our ecosystem and we have to take care of it. But the concept you mentioned, the apua'a, like that's a powerful concept, and it's very applicable to us, because first, just the bounds of the apua'a is very much in line with the watersheds we talked to earlier with the projects. So there's the engineering side where we can trace where the water is going to run, but then the other part with the partnering, where we actually have the studies, we bring the community in. That's the other piece of the apua'a, where we have the socioeconomic piece, a cultural piece, and that's the stuff we have to integrate into our solution and make sure we weigh that against all the other pieces we have to weigh. And it's just a beautiful term, beautiful concept to weigh in with the work that we do, because if we can understand the apua'a of these water projects, we really have the information we need to build a very sound solution and propose those solutions.
And that you just talked about that again, is like how important it is for the community to be involved with these kind of projects, because there's a lot of cultural people who understand the history of these ahupua'as and what the watershed used to look like, or how it's affecting the current state that they're in right now. So they have all this wealth of knowledge of what they've heard from their ancestors, what they've known from living in those areas for so long. So having them as a resource to help you get some solutions going is important to have those connections, right?
Yeah, and thing that I just realized, just a few weeks ago, is that everything we do shapes the future. It's we change either the land or the water, and that land or water change is going to change the culture in some way. It's going to affect us some way. So we really have to understand the past to be able to have the authority to shape the future. So it's consistent, and it tells a consistent story, and it nests well with all the past. So it is all the work that we touch. It's just critical to understand all the things you're talking about and talk to those people who have seen generations of change or understand the area. Just so when their kids and their grandkids are engaging it, they understand the natural progression that got them to that. For example, as we discussed the earlier projects, we take them for granted today. They've just always been there for us in our lives. Like Ho'omalohia. People have grown up and raised their kids, and they've seen it. It's just part of it. That's I think a successful testament to a good partnership right there, that we've built something, and thanks to the city and county who has also maintained that botanical gardens over time to keep it such a treasure to the people on the windward side.
Ho'omalohia is basically means to like have this sense of peace. And when you go there, have you gone there?
Oh yeah, many times.
So it's like you go there and you kind of just like you forget everything. You kind of, it's like a place of escape.
Exactly.
And it's so quiet, and like you hear the birds, you feel the coolness in the air and everything.
So you asked whether I've been there. So I've been there. My kids have camped there for Scouts.
Okay.
We've gone there a couple of times just to show the family, but also every year we do every 6 months actually. But the district will go once a year to Ho'omalohia, and we just do a restoration project.
Nice.
Along with the Aina, we come in, we have a good meeting in the morning, kind of talk about the importance of taking care of the things that we've built. And we go out and we just pull all the invasive species we can find. We work with the director there, and we just do a half-day service project, come back in, have some community time. And we do that every year just to remind ourselves, we have to take care of the things that we've put in place. And the other half time we go down to Waikiki and do the cleanup on the beach, because we've had projects there where we've built and we've restored. So we go out and spend half day picking up cigarette butts and all the other things on the beach that are left for us. But these are great times just to bring the district together. And again, all the retirees from the district come in, all the people there, the kids are there. It's just a really great place, because all the people in the district, they're the people you see at the Saturday football game or baseball games, engaging, because they're not the people rotating out every 2 or 3 years. They were born here. Many of them have raised their kids here, and they're part of the community. So they have a vested interest in making sure we do the work right, and that we take care of the things that we do build over time.
So when it comes to the Corps, is there civilian and active members who work in this?
In my district, for example, there are just over 320 civilians right now.
Okay.
And there's only 7 people who wear the uniform.
Oh, wow. As
of current count. So it's a very heavily civilian base. Civilian servants, they're Army employed, and they're proud DA civilian, Department of the Army civilians that do the work, but they live here. They were hired from here. We do bring people in from other places, but we love to find people that were born and raised in Hawaii that understand the community and can work with community. And it's a great place, both in times where we're just improving, whether it be a water project or it's in times of emergency response. We just value having this local experience. So if anyone's listening and they're interested in making a significant impact to their communities and the communities of the Pacific, the Honolulu District is a great place to make that impact.
Colonel Biggerstaff, before we end this, is there anything else you want to share with the community and anybody else who wants to learn more about the impacts that you are having on Hawaii Island and as well as the Pacific? If you want to learn more, our website has all of our projects listed. It's a great place just to see. Another one we didn't cover at all was the Lahaina wildfire response. Our team has had a world-class effort in getting into that mission. We had the first time ever cultural advisor program where we spent $20 million just hiring the right people local to the community to advise archaeologists, cultural experts, and just monitors to make sure we're doing it the right way, so we're not imposing more harm to an impacted community. And we've had amazing success in bringing in nearly half of all the work we've done through Native Hawaiian organizations and small businesses in Hawaii,
And so I'm sorry, I like to brag about this because the team in our contracting division and across the entire district, they worked exceptionally hard just to make sure it was the Hawaii people taking care of Hawaii in those moments. But those projects and many more listed on our website. Again, our public affairs officer is happy to talk to you, get you connected to anyone in the district you have interest in talking to. And I think the message I'd say to anyone who have concerns about what we do is we don't do any of the work unilaterally. We always find a local partner, and we work with the partner to do the work so that we're doing it the right way. We're finding all the things we need to consider as we find a solution. And now the solution may not make everybody happy. It's hard to do that in these engineering solutions. But every solution will have considered all the issues raised to try to find the optimal way to solve the problem. But we always do it in partnership with a local sponsor, and we work as closely and as carefully as we can to do it right by the local communities. Right. So if there's ever concerns with what we're doing, please reach out to our public affairs office. They will get you in contact with the right people at the right place to be able to communicate your concerns.
Kind of, I just want to say mahalo for being here and all the work that you're doing and the time and energy you're taking upon yourself to learn more about Hawaii, its history, the people, the culture, and having these times of partnership with the organizations and local and state level. So I just want to say mahalo for that, because that means a lot to myself personally, just to hear this, because again, we don't hear too much about what goes on behind the scenes, so I just want to say thank you for your time and your energy.
Absolutely. This is a pleasure. This job is the best job I've had. Yeah. It truly is. These islands are remarkable, and I don't know what I can do after this to be as fulfilled as what I'm fulfilled by every day being out here working. But Daniel, it was great talking with you today.
Yeah, thank you.
Looking forward to talking with you a little bit more after this.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Mahalo.
Mahalo.